Well, let's get some analysis on that story, and for that we can welcome Nanar Hawach, a senior analyst for Syria at the International Crisis Group. It's a great pleasure to have you with us on the program today. The Syrian government has called the recent Israeli strikes a dangerous escalation. I wonder what your read is on Israel's rationale, because it says it wants to send a message, but is this indeed the case?
Thank you for having me. Israel has two main objectives in Syria. The first is to keep Syria weak. The second is to keep Syria fragmented. The more fragmented Syria is, the more divided, the better for Israel. At least this is the Israeli rationale. All the efforts that Israel is doing since the fall of the regime is to reach and achieve those objectives. It has done so by targeting Syrian equipment, the Syrian army equipment, and it has systematically targeted the equipment, destroying from 70 to 90% of what is going to be the Syrian army. This goes in line with weakening the new authorities. They're basically trying to create a pickup truck type of army, or keep the Syrian authorities in that way. The second thing, and this goes in line with what's happening with the recent events, is to fragment Syria, or to keep Syria fragmented. And it has been trying to do so by playing very hard on divide and conquer, basically playing on the weaknesses and mistakes of the new authorities on one side, and on the fears of the minorities on the other side. And it has done so here with the latest events with the Druze communities. Israel has played on the relations between the Druze communities in Syria and Israel, and established claims that it is the protector of the Druze communities. And the recent events where there was an escalation and attacks on Druze communities in Damascus, specifically in Jaramana and Ashrafiyat Sahnaya, and then in Suwaida, which is a Durzi province, Israel has taken advantage of that, of those attacks, to come across as the protector of the Druze and to escalate against the government in Damascus.
Now, more than 100 people were killed this week during fighting between pro-government forces and Druze fighters, and the violence has, been condemned as a genocidal campaign by the Druze leader. Is that indeed what this is?
I think it's very important to look at the dynamics between different groups, especially minority groups, and the government. So overall, there has been skepticism by different minority groups towards the government. The skepticism hasn't been very big when it comes to the Druze community, since they had some relations with the government prior to the regime fall, since they were, against the former regime. However, after the violence and massacres on the coast, this attitude changed a lot, and this is very important to keep in mind. The different minority groups, after the massacres on the coast, started seeing that the only protection that they have from the new authorities are their weapons. And any kind of move or attack from groups that are aligned with the new authorities is an attack from the new authorities on them. So to summarize, that the Druze, or like a Druze leadership, or some Druze leadership, they are seeing these attacks as existential threat. And this is where the genocidal kind of phrasing or framing is coming from.
Now, we've seen time and time again, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defying international law, attacking, not only Gaza, but fighting on multiple fronts since 2023. Does Netanyahu care about the legality of what he's doing? I mean, most recently, Qatar condemned the Israeli airstrikes on Friday, saying the attack was a blatant aggression against Syria's sovereignty. But Netanyahu, rarely heeds such warnings and demands.
Yep, I mean, spot on. There's not much care for there's not a lot of care for international law or for sovereignty of Syria. This started from the fall of the regime, or even before, to be precise. And with these current attacks on the new authorities, especially the authorities that have been sending quite positive signals and calming signals to all their neighbors, especially to Israel. So not only these attacks are unlawful, but also to a certain extent unwarranted. And if I might add, they also counterintuitive to Israeli security, because you want to keep stable neighbor. If you destabilize your neighbor to a certain extent, then you're going to have a lot of non-state actors at your borders, a lot of radical groups, and maybe your initial threat, which is Iran, will find a way to get into Syria using this instability of the country.
Nanar, great to hear your insights. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.